Hello students, welcome back in this class for the students of standard 9th. Today in this session we will study our new chapter, The Adventures of Toto. This is from our book Moments. This is our second chapter written by Ruskin Bond. So let's start to know about the writer Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond, born 19th May 1934, he is an Indian author of British descent. He lives with his adopted family in Lander in Missouri. The Indian Council for Child Education has recognized his role in the growth of children's literature in India. He got the Sahitya Academy Award in 1992 for Our Trees Still Grows in Dehra. For his published work in English, he was awarded the Padma Shri in 1999 and Padma Bhushan. So students, that is all about the author Ruskin Bond. So let's start to know about the introduction of this chapter. Then we will get the explanation of this chapter. Introduction of this chapter. This is a humorous and adventurous story of a naughty monkey named Toto. The writer's grandfather bought the monkey from a Tonga driver. The pranks played by Toto have been narrated in an interesting way and make the story a must read for us. So let's start to read the chapter. Before you read, have you ever had a baby monkey as a pet? Toto is a baby monkey. Let's find out whether he is mischievous or docile. So let's start to read the paragraph. Grandfather bought Toto from a Tonga driver from the sum of 5 rupees. The Tonga driver used to keep the little red monkey tied to a feeding trough, and monkey looked so out of place there that grandfather decided he would add the little fellow to his private zoo. So here feeding trough means a large container for feeding animals, and Tonga is a horse cart. The writer's grandfather purchased a monkey named Toto from a Tonga driver by paying 5 rupees to him. The Tonga driver had tied the little red colored monkey to a feeding trough so that he could not run away. When the writer's grandfather saw the monkey, he had a desire to add him to the collection of animals which he had in his zoo at home. So here we come to know that grandfather had a zoo in his home. So he had made a private zoo in his home. Toto was a pretty monkey. His bright eyes sparkled with mischievous beneath deep-set eyebrows, and his teeth, which were pearly white, were very often displayed in a smile that frightened the life out of elderly Anglo-Indian ladies. But his hands looked dried up as though they had been pickled in the sun for many years. So here Anglo-Indian means a person relating to both Britain and India. Pickled means food that is preserved in vinegar, and scooping up means lifting. The writer gives here a description of Toto. He had bright, shiny eyes which were full of mischief. The eyebrows were deeply set on his face. His teeth were like pearls. Many ladies belonging to the Anglo-Indian community got scared when they saw his teeth, which were displayed when he smiled. But his hands looked dried up as though they had been pickled in the sun for many years. Toto's hands were dry and wrinkled as if they had been dried in the sun like pickled vegetables. And here, next paragraph, yet his fingers were quick and wicked as his tail while adding to his good looks. He had a long tail. The writer's grandfather thought that the tail added to the good looks of an animal. Also served as a third head. He could use it to hang from a branch, and it is capable of scooping up any delicacy that might be out of reach of his hand. Toto's tail were like a third hand for him. It helped him hang from the branch of a tree. He also used it to lift objects which were beyond his hand's reach. Grandfather always first went grandfather brought home some new bird or animal, so it was decided that Toto's presence should be kept a secret from her until she was in a particularly good mood. Right? The writer's grandmother was against the grandfather's attitude of bringing new pets. As grandfather usually bring new pets and collect in his private zoo, the writer's grandmother didn't like and she was against the grandfather's attitude of bringing new pets, like birds and animals. So the grandfather thought that they would conceal this fact from her until she was in a good mood. Grandfather and I put him away in a little closet opening into my bedroom wall where he was tied securely. Or so we thought, to a peg fastened into a wall. Here peg means a hook. A few hours later, when grandfather and I came back to release Toto, we found that the walls, which had been covered with some ornamental paper chosen by grandfather, now stood out as naked brick and plaster. At that time, they would disclose this to her. The writer and his grandfather secured Toto in a little cupboard in the writer's room. In order to be sure that Toto did not escape, they tied him to a hook in the wall. The writer and his grandfather went to Toto after a few hours. The sight was shocking. Toto had torn the decorative wallpaper and he had broken the hook and escaped from his binding. The peg in the wall had been wrenched from its socket and my school blazer, which had been hanging there, were in shreds. I wondered what grandfather would say, but grandfather didn't worry. He seemed pleased with Toto's performance. And he had broken the hook and had escaped from his binding. Also, he tore the writer's blazer into thin pieces. The grandfather was quite delighted to see Toto's adventure. He felt that Toto was very clever. He said that if they would have given him more time, he would have tied the thin pieces of the writer's torn blazer into a rope and would have escaped out of the window. He is clever, said grandfather. Given time, I am sure he could have tied the torn pieces of a blazer into a rope and made his escape from the window. Here, grandfather was quite delighted to see Toto's adventure. He felt that Toto was very clever. He said that if they would have given more time, he would have tied the thin pieces of the writer's torn blazer into a rope and would have escaped out of the window. His presence in the house still a secret, Toto was now transferred to a big cage into the servants' quarter where a number of grandfather's pets lived very sociably together. A tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and for a while my pet goat. So his presence in the house still a secret, Toto was now transferred to a big cage in the servants' quarter where a number of grandfather's pets lived very sociably together. And they were a tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and for the writer's pet goat. But the monkey wouldn't allow any of his companion to sleep at night, so grandfather, who had to leave Dehradun next day to collect his pension in Saharanpur, decided to take him along. Here sociably means in a friendly manner. Explanation of this paragraph. The Toto was shifted to the servants' quarter. He was put in a cage. He would live with the others' pet in grandfather's zoo. The zoo comprised of a tortoise, a pair of rabbits, squirrel, and writer's pet goat. Toto was very mischievous. He didn't let the animals sleep at night. The writer's grandfather had to leave for Saharanpur. Next day, he decided to take Toto along as he was unmanageable. Move to next paragraph. Unfortunately, I could not accompany grandfather on that trip, but he told me about it afterwards. A big black canvas kit bag was provided for Toto. This, with some straw at the bottom, became his new abode. Abode means home. When the bag was closed, there was no escape. Toto could not get his hand through the opening, and the canvas was too strong for him to bite his way through. The writer was disappointed. When the grandfather was going to Saharanpur for taking his pension, the writer was disappointed as he could not accompany his grandfather and Toto on the trip. His grandfather narrated the happenings of the trip for him later. He had got a special bag for Toto. It was made of strong material, canvas. He placed some dry grass at the bottom of the bag. On the trip, the bag would be Toto's home as he would live in it. The bag had a zipper on top of it. The writer's grandfather ensured that when the bag was closed, Toto would not be able to escape out of it. His effort to get out only had his effect of making the bag roll about on the floor or occasionally jump into the air. An exhibition that attracted a curious crowd of onlookers on the Dehradun railway platform. Here, the bag had a zipper on top of it, and the writer's grandfather ensured that when the bag was closed, the Toto wouldn't be able to escape out of it. Neither could he come out of the opening as it was closed with a zipper, nor could it bite the strong canvas material in order to run away. Still, Toto made unsuccessful attempt to come out of the bag. Due to this, many times the bag would roll on the floor or it would certainly jump in the air. This movement were noticed by the people on the railway platform and made them curious to know what was inside the bag. And what was inside the bag? There was Toto, mischievous monkey was inside the bag. Toto remained in the bag as far as Saharanpur, but while grandfather was producing his ticket at the railway turnside, Toto suddenly poked his hand out of the bag and gave the ticket collector a wide grin. A wide grin means a big smile. Here, turnside means a machine, a mechanical gate consisting of revolving horizontal arms fixed to a vertical post, allowing only one person at a time to pass through. So Toto remained secure in grandfather's bag till Saharanpur. At the Saharanpur railway station, the writer's grandfather was taking out of his ticket to cross the turnside. At that time, Toto picked out of the bag and smiled at the ticket collector, and he had given a big smile to the ticket collector. The poor man was taken aback, but with great presence of mind and much to his grandfather's annoyance, he said, "Sir, you have a dog with you. You will have to pay for it accordingly." In vain did grandfather take Toto out of the bag. In vain did he try to prove that monkey didn't qualify as a dog or even as a quadruped. Here, annoyance means to anger someone. The ticket collector was astonished to see a monkey in the grandfather's bag. He recovered quickly and asked grandfather to pay the ticket money for traveling with a dog. Vain means an unsuccessful attempt, and quadruped means an animal which has 4 feet, and fair means ticket price. So here the grandfather was unsuccessful in explaining to the ticket collector that Toto was a monkey and not a dog. He insisted that Toto was not even an animal with 4 feet, but the ticket collector was firm that Toto fell in the category of dogs. Grandfather had to pay 3 rupees for Toto's tickets, right? Then the grandfather was disappointed, and in order to take revenge from the ticket collector, he took out of his pet tortoise from his pocket. He asked if he was supposed to buy a ticket for it, Toto. So he said, "What must I pay for this, since you charge for all animals?" The ticket collector looked closely at the tortoise, prodded it with his forefingers, gave grandfather a pleased and triumphant look, and said, "No charge, it is not a dog." Prodded means pushed. The ticket collector took a close look at the tortoise, pushed it slightly, and announced that grandfather was not required to pay a ticket for it, as it did not fall in the category of a dog. And what is it? It was tortoise. When Toto was finally accepted by grandmother, he was given a comfortable home in the stable, where he had for a companion the family donkey, Nana. On Toto's first night in the stable, grandfather paid him a visit to see if he was comfortable. So this surprise he found Nana without apparent cause, pulling at her halter and trying to keep her head as far as possible from a bundle of hay. Here stable means building set apart and adopted for keeping horses. Halter means a strap or loop placed around the head of a horse or other animal used for leading or lathering it. So here the writer's grandmother finally came to know of Toto's presence in the house. She allotted him space in the stable along with the family donkey Nana. So what was the donkey's name? Here it is given Nana. On the first night in the stable, grandfather visited Toto. He found Nana restless, pulling its rope in order to stay away from the head of hay. We come to know that here Toto was very mischievous. Grandfather gave Nana a slap across her haunches, and she jerked back, dragging Toto with her. He had fastened on her long ears with his sharp little teeth. Toto and Nana never became friends. Haunches means back. So here grandfather hit Nana on the back in order to stop it. Nana jumped back with a jerk and Toto was dragged along with her. And Toto and Nana never became friends. A great treat for Toto during cold winter evening was a large bowl of warm water given him by grandmother for his bath. So in the winter season, Toto enjoyed having a warm bath. He would pretend to be selfish, and before starting his bath, he would check the temperature of the water, and he would copy the writer. He would cunningly test the temperature with his hand, then gradually step with his bath. First one foot, then the other, as he had seen me doing, until he was into the water up to his neck. Before starting his bath, he would check the temperature of the water, he would copy the writer and stepped into the tub 1 foot at a time. Finally, he would sit it in the water with his face out of it. Once uncomfortable, he would take the soap in his hand or feet and rub himself all over. When the writer became cold, he would get out of and run as quickly as he could to the kitchen fire in order to dry himself. Finally, he would sit in the water with his face out of it. Then he would rub himself with soap. When the water became cold, he would run out of it to the stove in the kitchen in order to dry himself. Toto got annoyed if he was laughed upon. He would get hurt and then refuse to take bath. If anyone laughed at him during his performance, Toto's feeling would be hurt and he would refuse to go on with his bath. One day, Toto nearly succeeded in boiling himself alive. A large kitchen kettle had been left on the fire to boil for tea, and Toto, finding himself with nothing better to do, decided to remove the lid. So in a large kettle Water was boiling on the stove. Toto climbed up to the stove and removed the lid from it. Finding the water just warm enough for a bath, he got in with his head striking out from the open kettle. This was just for a while until the water began to boil. He felt that the water was warm enough for him to take a bath. He entered the kettle with his head out of it. When the water started boiling, it came hot for Toto. He thought of coming out of the kettle, but as the temperature outside was cold for him, he stayed in it. Toto then raised himself a little, but finding it cold outside, sat down again. He continued hopping up and down for some time until grandmother arrived and hauled him half boiled out of the kettle. Toto kept on jumping in the kettle for a while. It was when the writer's grandmother arrived that she took the half-boiled monkey out of the kettle. So through this incident we can understand really Toto was a very mischievous monkey. If there is a part of brain especially devoted to mischief, that part was largely developed in Toto. He was always tearing things to pieces whenever one of my aunt came near to him. He made every effort to get hold of her dress and tear a hole in it. So one day at lunchtime, a large dish of pulao stood in the center of the dining table. If there is a part in our brain that governs our ability to create mischief, then that part in Toto's brain was highly developed as he had great capacity to do mischief. He was only busy doing mischief. Whenever the writer's aunt passed him, he tried to tear her dresses. One day at lunchtime, a large dish of pulao stood in center of the dining table. We entered the room to find Toto stuffing himself with rice. My grandmother screamed and Toto threw a plate at her. One of my aunt rushed forward and received a glass of water in the face. The writer recollects another incident when Toto created a lot of mischief. At lunchtime, a dish of rice was placed on the dining table. When the family reached to eat, they found Toto eating it. So the writer's grandmother screamed. She annoyed at Toto and in response, he threw a plate at her. When the aunts tried to catch Toto, he threw a glass of water in her face. So here we come to know the adventures of Toto. When grandfather arrived, Toto picked up the dish of pulao and made his exit through a window. He found him in the branches of the jackfruit tree, the dish still in his arm. He remained there all afternoon, eating slowly through the rice, determined on finishing every grain. When the grandfather arrived, Toto left the place through a window with a dish of rice along with him. Toto remained out of the entire afternoon. He sat on the branches of the jackfruit tree, determined to eat all the rices. And then, in order to spite grandmother who had screamed at him, he threw a dish down from the tree and chattered with delight when it broke into 100 pieces. As the grandmother had screamed on him, he wanted to annoy her further, and so after eating the rice, he threw the dish. It broke into several pieces, right? Obviously, Toto was not the sort of pet he could keep off for long. Even grandfather realized that we were not well to do and could not afford the frequent loss of dishes, clothes, curtains, and wallpaper. So grandfather found the Tonga driver and sold Toto back to him for only 3 rupees. So finally, grandfather realized that Toto was not suitable to be kept at home. They could not afford the frequent losses that he gave them. He tore clothes, curtains, wallpapers, and broke dishes. So the grandfather sold Toto back to the same Tonga driver for the sum of 3 rupees. So here we come to know that grandfather bought Toto from a Tonga driver for the sum of 5 rupee and he sold it to same Tonga driver for only 3 rupees. But due to the mischievous and adventures of Toto, the grandfather couldn't afford Toto at home and it was not possible to bear lots of losses as he did. So students, that is all about the chapter. I think you have understood it. Thank you all of you. Study well. Keep learning.